Hello bachcho, welcome once again. This is the fourth video of surface chemistry in which I am going to discuss rest of the topics of surface chemistry. Already I have uploaded 3 videos, so in case if you guys have not seen those videos, first go through those videos in which I have covered up all the topics like ultracentrifugation, colloid formation, Michaelis formation, then your Friendlich isotherm. So before watching this video, I request you guys to go through all the videos of surface chemistry, and in this video I am going to cover up what are the colligative properties. So let's start with the video. I am Dr. Rohit Chakravarti, an educator, a senior scientist by profession. Let's start. Properties of colloidal solution. Colligative properties. So the colloidal particles being bigger aggregates, the number of particles in a colloidal solution is comparatively small as compared to a true solution. So there is a difference between a true solution and the colloidal particles. Their sizes are, colloidal particles are small in the colloidal solution with respect to a true solution. Hence the value of colligative property, that is the osmotic pressure, lowering in vapor pressure, depression in freezing point and elevation in boiling point are of smaller order as compared to the value shown by the true solution at the same concentration. There will be always a difference. Now let's talk about very important topic, Tyndall effect. Normally question comes from this topic in your board exam and in your, so you guys need to understand. Here I have given the pictorial presentation also, that how, what is the Tyndall effect and how it occurs. So Tyndall effect is basically the scattering of light in a colloidal solution. What happens when there is a source of light which goes through a colloidal solution, the lights get scattered. So when you see through a microscope how it happens, let me read out for you. This effect was first observed by the Faraday and later studied in detail by the Tyndall. So, and it is termed as Tyndall effect. Why? Because it was first observed by Faraday and later studied by the Tyndall. So on his name, this effect has been named. So the Tyndall effect is due to the fact that the colloidal particles scattered light in all the direction in space, and this scattering of light illuminates the path of a beam in the colloidal solution. Tyndall effect is observed only when the following two conditions. The first condition is the diameter of the dispersed particle is not much smaller than the wavelength of the light used. So it has to be not much smaller than the wavelength of the light used, and the second is the refractive indices of the dispersed phase. So the color of the colloidal solution depends on the wavelength of the light scattered of the dispersed particle. The wavelength of the light further depends on the size and the nature of the particles. The nature of the particles which is present in the solution. Now as far as Brownian movement is concerned, what is Brownian movement? When colloidal solution are viewed under a powerful microscope, the colloidal particles appear to be in a state of continuous zigzag motion all over the field of view. This motion was first observed by the British botanist Robert Brown, and it is known as Brownian movement. So Brownian movement is nothing but zigzag movement of a colloidal particle which is present in the colloidal solution, and it was first observed by the British scientist Brownian. So on his name, this movement has been called as Brownian movement, which is basically a colloidal solution in which particles are present and there is a zigzag movement when a beam of light passes through this colloidal solution. So next is, this motion is independent of the nature of the colloid but depends on the size of the particle. Very important point to notice that the Brownian movement is basically independent of the nature of the colloidal, but the particle size is very much important, and the viscosity, that is the thickness कितनी है, गाढ़ा कितना है वो. So it depends on two important points. So you guys need to remember for Brownian movement, first is the viscosity of the solution, second is the particle size. And the Brownian movement has been explained to be due to the unbalanced bombardment of the particles by the molecule of the dispersion medium. Here you guys, you can see there are different particles, they are moving in the different direction. Now charge on the colloidal particles always carry an electrical charge. The nature of this charge is the same on all the particles in a given colloidal solution, and it may be positive or negative. So the charge on the sole particle is due to one or more reason, that is due to the electron captured by the sole particles during electrodispersion of the metal, and due to preferential adsorption of the ions from a solution, and due to formulation of electrical double layer. And the next point is preferential adsorption of ions is the most accepted reason. तो सोल पार्टिकल्स एक्वायर पॉजिटिव, बिकॉज बच्चों ये समझो पार्टिकल्स में पॉजिटिव भी हो सकता है, नेगेटिव भी हो सकता है. So there are chances that they will, and it is compulsory that the charge will always be there on the colloidal particle. It may be positive, it may be negative. So what I have written over here, that the Sol particles always carry a positive or negative charge by preferential adsorption of a positive or negative ions. When two or more ions are present in the dispersion medium, there will be attraction or there will be a repulsion also. So here you guys can see in one I have shown you the Ki, and on the second part I have shown the silver nitrate solution. So what happen when it comes in contact with each other, there will be formation of a precipitate, that is silver iodide. So it is a case of a AgI colloidal sol. So here you guys can see silver ions get accumulated and remain in the dispersed medium in silver iodide sol, and secondly iodide ion remain in the dispersion medium in silver iodide sol. So this is the wonderful pictorial presentation how there is a colloidal sol formation of when a potassium iodide solution reacts with silver nitrate. Now again here you can see there is a sleeping plane and the stunned plane. So there is a negative charge over at the center, and it is get actually covered up by the positive and negative charge, and we always know that opposite charge will attract each other. So what happened, let me discuss. The combination of the two layers of the oppositely charged around the colloidal particle is called Helmholtz electrical double layer. Alright, this is called Helmholtz electrical double layer. According to the modern view, the first layer of the ions is firmly held and it is termed the fixed layer. So first layer you can see it is green in color, it is tightly fixed, and the second layer is mobile, which is termed as diffuse layer, and the second one is known as diffuse layer. You can see here the green part is the diffuse layer, and the first, that is the inside, which is negatively charged, which is tightly packed, and so which is having a negative charge. Outside there is a green ring which is known as diffusion layer. Okay, since separation of the charge is a seat of potential, the charge of oppositely charged sign on the fixed and diffuse part of the double layer results in the difference in the potential. There will always be a potential difference between these layers. This potential difference between the fixed layer and the diffuse layer of oppositely charged is called electrokinetic potential or zeta potential. Now what is electrophoresis? Again an important topic of surface chemistry. When there is electrical potential is applied across the two platinum electrodes, you guys can see there is a negative that is your anode part, and the cathode part there is a reservoir. Alright, so a colloidal solution has been filled in this U tube. Initial level this one and final level is this one, and what there is a water dispersion medium. So how it happens, what is the process, let me read out and make you understand. When electrical potential is applied across the two platinum electrode dipping in a colloidal solution, the colloidal particle move towards one or the other electrode. So there is a movement of colloidal particles under an applied electrical potential, which is called electrophoresis. When we apply the electrode potential, there is a movement of ions from negative to positive. So this positively charged particles move toward the cathode, okay, while the negative charged particles move towards the anode. When electrophoresis, that is movement of particle, is present or it will be prevented by some suitable means, it is observed that the dispersion medium begins to move in an electrical field. This phenomena is known as electroosmosis. So what happen, negative ions get attracted towards the anode and positively charged towards the cathode. When there is an application of external energy, or what we call through this movement can be prevented by applying electricity or electric current outside. This process is known as basically when electrophoresis, that is the movement of particle, is prevented by a suitable means. It is observed that the dispersion medium begins to move in a electrical field. So through opposite electric current will be applied to stop the movement, and this is known as electroosmosis. So there will be a coagulation or precipitation. The process of settling of colloidal particles is known as coagulation or precipitation of the sol. Coagulation is carried out by means by many ways. Example, electrophoresis, mixing of two oppositely charged sols, by boiling, by persistent dialysis, and by addition of electrolytes. So it has been observed that generally the greater the valence of the flocculating ion added, greater is its power to cause the precipitation. This is known as Hardy-Schulze rule. Okay, so what is Hardy-Schulze rule? So in this, what happen, the greater the as I have written over here, the greater the valence of the flocculating ion added, the greater is its power to precipitation. So greater would be the precipitation, the greater will be the charge. And in the coagulation of a negatively solved, the flocculating power is in the order of, so this is the order in which there will be a flocculating power, that is aluminum, cation, then barium, and then sodium. Similarly, the coagulation of a positive sol, the flocculating power in this way, this is, you guys can see this is a complex formation, hexacyanoferrate, and overall there is a 4 negative charge, then phosphate, sulfate, and chloride ion. So the minimum concentration of electrolyte in millimoles per liter required to cause the precipitation of a sol in 2 hours is called coagulating value. So this is a pictorial representation of coagulation of a colloidal sol and flocculation. Now talking about the coagulation of lyophilic salt, there are two factors which are actually responsible for the stability of lyophilic salt. How we can stabilize the lyophilic salt? The two factors are the factors that are the charge and the solvation of the colloidal particle. When these two factors are removed, a lyophilic salt can easily be coagulated. First is by adding the electrolyte, and second one is by adding a suitable solvent. So when suitable solvents such as alcohol or acetone, in alcohol we can consider like methanol, ethanol we can added to the hydrophilic salts, the dehydration of dispersion phase occurs. Under this condition, a small quantity of electrolyte can bring about a coagulation. Now let's talk about the next one. So moving on to the next slide, that is protection of colloids. Lyophilic salts are more stable than lyophobic salts. This is due to the fact that the lyophilic colloids are extensively solvated. Lyophilic is solvent loving, so they get extensively solvated, and the colloid particles are covered by a sheath of the liquid in which they are dispersed. So the lyophilic colloids have a unique property of protecting the lyophobic colloids, because lyophilic are solvent attractive, they are soluble, and they are solvent loving. So what happens when a lyophilic sol is added to the lyophobic sol, the lyophilic particle form a layer around the lyophobic part and thus protect the latter from the electrolytes. Lyophilic colloids always used to for this purpose and is known as protection of colloids. Now let's talk about emulsion. आप लोगों ने देखा होगा बच्चों, जब when you take a glass full of water and you put some oil, so it will actually forms a small droplet, that is known as emulsion. These are the liquid colloid system, dispersion of finely divided oil droplets in another liquid. If a mixture of two immiscible or partly immiscible liquids is shaken in a coarse dispersion of one liquid in the another is obtained, which is called emulsion. Generally one of the two liquid is water, and there are two type of emulsion, oil dispersed in water and water dispersed in oil. सो टू पार्ट्स कर सकते हैं हम, या तो हम ऑयल के अंदर वाटर डालेंगे या वाटर में हम ऑयल डालेंगे. सो दीज टू आई हैव शोन थ्रू अ पिक्टोरियल प्रेजेंटेशन. Emulsion of oil in water are unstable and sometimes they separate into layers on standing. For stabilization of an emulsion, a third component called emulsifying agent is added. It is unstable in nature, so to get it stabilized, emulsifying agent has been added, and the emulsifying agent forms an interfacial film between the suspended particle and the medium. The principal emulsifying agent for oil and water emulsion are protein, gums, natural and synthetic soap. Next point is emulsion can be diluted with any amount of dispersion medium. On the other hand, the dispersed liquid when mixed forms a separate layer. So the droplets in emulsion are often negatively charged and can be precipitated by the electrolytes. They are also shown the Brownian movement and Tyndall effect. Already discussed about the Brownian movement and the Tyndall effect, and these emulsion can be broken into constituent liquid by heating and freezing. Let's talk about the colloid around us. क्या क्या है हमारे आसपास colloids में? That is the blue color of the sky, fog, mist and rain, food particles, blood, soil, and the formation of delta. These are the wonderful examples around us of the colloids. Talk about the application part of the colloids. Electrical precipitation of smoke is a colloidal solution of a solid particle such as carbon, arsenic and compound. The smoke before it comes out from the chimney is led through a chamber containing plates having a charge opposite than that of the carried by the smoke. So the particles on coming in contact with this plate lose their charge and get precipitated. The particles thus settle down on the floor, and this chamber, the precipitator, is called controller or the precipitator. Now let's talk about the various uses. What are the uses? So basically it is used for three main purposes which I have mentioned over here. First, the synthesis of medicines. Second one is your purification of drinking water, and third are the tanning. The water obtained from the natural source often contains lot of suspended impurities. So these can be removed through using of alum. So alum is added to the water and which get accumulated the suspended impurities, and water gets be removed. Okay, second one is your medicine. There are formation of agrosols like silver sol used as an eye lotion, and it is also used for curing kala azar. Milk of magnesia and emulsion is also used for the stomach disorder. Third one is what I have written over here is tanning. So animal halides are colloidal in nature. When a hide which has a positively charged particle is soaked in tannin, which contain lot of negatively charged colloidal particle also, this result in the hardening of a leather. This process is known as tanning. Chromium salt are also being used for it. In photographic plates, this colloidal solution has been used, so it is having multiple uses. Photographic plates of films are prepared by coating or emulsion of the light sensitive silver bromide gelatin over a glass plate of celluloid films. Okay, this is one of the major uses. Another one is your rubber industry. Latex is a colloidal solution of a rubber particle which are negatively charged. This rubber is obtained by coagulation of latex. And the last one is the industrial product, that is your paint, inks. These are all the colloidal solution. So these are some of the uses which I have mentioned over here. I hope I have been able to cover up most of the topic of surface chemistry. And in case if something you have any doubt, बच्चों, you guys can write down on the comment section. अगर आप लोगों को कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, I think मैंने maximum जितना cover करना था surface chemistry में, major topics which have come up in your board exam or for the competitive exam, I think I have covered up, and these slides are very important for you. So you guys just go through all this video, go through all the slides. In case if you have any doubt about Brownian movement, about Tyndall effect, about the emulsifying agents, about different uses of colloids, you guys can write down directly on my video, so that I will be able to help you out. अगर बच्चों आपको कुछ भी डाउट लगता है, I am always available for you. I have been doing lot of hard work for you guys, especially so that you guys can take maximum benefit in this period. So stay safe, stay healthy, and do like, share, and subscribe my channel. So thank you so much for watching my video.